Hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar, The New Frontier of AI for Casinos and Hotels, Maximize Room Reservations with an AI-powered call center. We're delighted to be joined by our partner Sendine and today's special guest, Landry's Golden Nugget. I will be handing over to the presenters shortly, but first, please take a moment to check your audio-visual settings while I run through a few items about how you can participate in today's event. Today's webinar will last approximately 45 minutes and will include a Q&A session after the presentation. As always, feel free to submit your questions to today's presenters at any time during the webinar by typing them into the questions pane of the control panel. The control panel is situated on the right-hand side of your screen. It just leaves me to remind you that this webinar is being recorded and you will receive the recording shortly after the broadcast. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to today's presenters, Michael Chen, Michael Linton, and Brian Jefferson, who will introduce themselves. Michael.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Chen. I'm the head of partnerships here at PolyAI, and I'm excited to be here with our friend Sendine and to talk about our work together with Brian at the Golden Nugget. I hand over now, Michael, for an introduction.
Hi, everybody. My name is Michael Linton. I head up the gaming team at Sendine. I've been with the company for going on 6-7 years now. Excited to be joining you all today with our partners from PolyAI and Landry's Golden Nugget.
Great. Brian?
Yes, I'm Brian Jefferson. I am the Director of Contact Center Operations for Landry's and the Golden Nugget. I handle all reservations, hotel reservations for Landry's hotels and the Golden Nugget properties.
Great. So on today's agenda, we'll start with some introductions about PolyAI and about Sendine respectively, focusing on our experience in the hospitality and gaming industry. And then we'll get into Brian's story at the Golden Nugget together. We'll play some examples of our solution in action, and then we'll wrap up with a short discussion about the future for all the speakers here on the webinar. So if I flip to the next slide then, and I'll talk a bit about PolyAI, right? So at PolyAI, we really specialize in building guest-led voice assistants for customer service. So for us, this means guests can speak naturally when they're asking for help, like they would with their friends or family, instead of being limited to any certain amount of predefined keywords, for example. They can talk in long-winded sentences, they can dive in and out of different topics and still be understood, even if there is background noise or a choppy phone line. We focus on this feeling of being understood because it drives higher levels of call engagement with a conversational solution, which is really what's key in driving concrete business value, because it helps support more accurate resolution, deeper insights, and reveal, deeper insights about operational performance. So a bit about the history of the company. We were born from the University of Cambridge in the same lab that pioneered modern speech recognition technologies. With all the recent news around ChatGPT and this new category of technology called large language models, PolyAI is one of the few teams in the world that have the capability and the experience of training large language models in-house. And that's actually the technology that powers our proprietary conversational platform. We have a presence in the US, UK, and Europe, and we operate in multiple industries, languages, and sectors, but we're here today to talk specifically about what we're doing in hospitality and gaming. So yeah, PolyAI in this sector, right? We're live in over 200 locations around the world. We serve casinos, resorts, full service, select service hotels, restaurant groups, pubs, and cruise lines. And some of our use cases listed on the screen here, front desk inquiries, answering billing questions, housekeeping workflows. And we'll talk today a bit about what we're doing in the reservations call centers with partial reservations, cancellations, and the like. So yeah, we're very, very experienced. It's a very, very important sector for us. So yeah, at this point, I will hand over to Michael to give a bit about intro about Sendine.
Thanks, Michael. So yeah, at Sendine, we are catalysts for digital transformation in the hospitality industry at a broader level. What does that mean? We have an assortment of solutions on our platform, ranging all the way from, our full service digital marketing and web development design services to our platform solutions like our CRS, known as the Pegasus CRS, which includes a game-changing booking engine, as well as solutions like Rate Match that do rate parity checking and can actually match rates from OTAs and competitive pricing within your own booking engine, to our revenue management solution that's widely adopted and used across the gaming sector, as well as our CRM solution. The idea is to try and bring as many solutions for the hotel under one roof so that you can leverage the interconnectivity between our technologies. And with that said, all of our technologies, run off of robust APIs, including our call center, which is the subject of today's conversation. And really, all of these solutions are not only applicable to the broader hotel industry. We, have hotels in various countries across the globe that are using our products. Well over 30,000 hotels on the solutions. But where we really have stood out, and maybe this is me selfishly saying because this is my focus, is in the gaming sector. So not only do we have these robust booking engines and call center applications to streamline operations for hotels, but we've really carved out that niche in gaming, being able to handle casino loyalty, including on websites. We build casino loyalty portals. On our booking engine, you can book a comp or a special offer, and in our call center application, you can also book comp special offers. The call center application itself is designed to keep the agent within one screen, and through our ongoing relationship with Golden Nugget, we're introduced to PolyAI and formed this great partnership where they've leveraged our APIs for conversational voice AI, which is a natural, I think, segue into to you, Brian.
Yeah. So Brian, maybe at this point, why don't you give us an overview of the work that we've been sort of doing together at the Landry's Golden Nugget?
Yeah. So we started our partnership with PolyAI about 2 years ago. After the pandemic, everything was closed down. All the hospitality was hit hard. Everything closed. And when we opened back up again, we thought maybe things would slowly build back up, and all my people would come back to work. We also determined during that time to take about 40,000 calls that were going into one of my properties in Las Vegas and say, hey, let's just put them in the call center here. The PBX, simple PBX calls, transfers, frequently asked questions. We'll handle them here in Houston and bring people in. We'll just hire people to handle those calls. What we found out, and I think most of the call centers found out, that people didn't readily want to come back to work, and everybody was, the consumers were excited to get back their lives. And so my volume increased, and I didn't have staff to handle the calls. And all of a sudden, adding those additional calls in, I saw a huge increase in my abandonments on my revenue side of the business. So at that point, I reached out to the CFO and said, hey, we need to do something, because this is the potential revenue we're missing out on. And we started exploring the AI possibilities. And as I looked at different providers out there, PolyAI gave the best voice. It was a natural voice. It wasn't a robot. And so we started a process to say, hey, let's see how we capture this simple call volume first, which was just simple transfers, people calling to transferring, can I get the spa, can I get the restaurant, housekeeping, whatever, or what time does your pool open, what time is check-in, do you allow pets, a lot of those frequently asked questions. And so we set up and we trained in roughly about 4 weeks a virtual assistant that would handle those simple calls. And my anticipation was it would handle about 50% of those calls to start off with. And from day one, it handled well over 80% of those calls, and really freed up my agents to be able to answer now the more revenue producing calls and book revenue. So that was our initial start. And as we started that, we said, well, what else can we do with this technology? And we started to say, well, what if we could at least take some information from the customer, such as their player's card number, their arrival dates, how many adults, how many nights, and then capture that information first, and then deliver that information to my agent so it pops into their screen. So when the agent answers the phone, they know who they're talking to, what the dates are, and it really helped reduce our handle time and gave a better experience because the customer gave that information. Once they got it, we recognized who they were. We're able to quickly look for their offers and look for their availability and book their reservations. So that was phase two. And so then we said, what else can we do with this opportunity? I knew that with Sendine, we already had created the ability for our customers or our players to be able to log into their account, look at their offers, and book their casino offers online. And so we said, well, we all sat in a room. I got Michael and some of the Poly team together in a room, and we said, can we teach a voice assistant to book somebody's reservation online using what we've already created? And so utilizing, Poly AI's great voice, understanding natural language, and to take that information and tie it into what Sendine had already created for us on the website, and using all those APIs together, we were able to effectively create a voice assistant that fully made a reservation, looked at somebody's offer, was able to look at their casino offer, look at the availability, book the reservation, take a secure credit card, and handle that process. And they can also book, cash reservations, right? Quote rates, and do all that we already had available on our website too. So those are the steps that we went through to get that. At this point, it's handling over 30% of my reservation calls right now without having to speak to an agent. People still want to get to an agent. What's interesting is people will call and ask for their offers, and their offer, the voice assistant will maybe tell it it's not available, but they think, well, it's got to be available, so I'll talk to an agent. You get to an agent, the agent says, no, it's not available. So the voice assistant has been very, very good and very active and very accurate in booking that information and helping us, really provide. It's all about providing a better customer experience, because now the wait times have significantly reduced, the abandons have significantly reduced, captured more revenue, and my staffing is reduced, and which also in effect has reduced my attrition. So it's been a big win overall.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Brian. I think let me get into playing some examples of the solution action, but I'd love to get back to that point on the agent attrition point, right, and the impact that this solution has had more on your staff in the call center.
Sure.
I just want to check, can you guys still see my screen again? I think I've lost a bit about my control panel here. But... Great. Okay. Well, I'll play it back maybe from reverse order. We'll start with the new reservation calls. We'll then play the partial reservation calls, and then we'll get into the guest services calls. So I think just as a sort of note for the listeners here, there'll be parts of the call where it seems like the agent or the conversational assistant has moved ahead quite quickly. That's just because we removed all of the personally identifiable information from the call audio. It's something that the platform does automatically, which is why it'll seem like the call progresses quite quickly in some parts.
Golden Nugget Lake Charles, this call may be recorded. How can I help?
Yes, I need to make a reservation, please.
Sure, let me take a few details to see what deals we have. Do you have a player's card with us? If you have it on you, could you type in your 14-digit card or account number into the phone keypad and press pound, or read it out loud? Just give me 1 sec while I look that up.
Yeah, so that was the PII being removed.
What's your date of birth? Great, I can see your account here. What date will you be arriving?
April 30th.
And how many nights are you planning on staying for?
1.
And how many people are coming?
2.
Alrighty, I'm just gonna make a note of that now. Okay, I've got you down for one night from Sunday, the 30th of April to Monday, the 1st of May for 3 people. Is that right?
2 people.
Alrighty, I'm just gonna make a note of that now. Okay, I've got you down for one night from Sunday, the 30th of April to Monday, the 1st of May for 2 people. Is that right?
Correct.
Perfect. Let's take a look at what offers we have. Great. I see that we can give you a free room for one night of your stay. Is that okay?
Yes.
Great. Now just give me 1 sec and I'll have a look at what rooms we have available. Okay, so for your comped room, we've got a Deluxe King for a one-night stay that'll be completely free of charge. Only 24K members with Premier status and above get their resort fee waived. So you'll still have to pay $19.99 plus tax per night at check-in. Should I go ahead with the booking?
Yes.
Okay, just to let you know, we have a 48-hour cancellation policy. If you cancel or change your reservation after 4 p.m. 2 days prior to check-in or don't show, you'll be charged a $100 fee. Are we still good to go ahead?
Yes.
Great. I'm going to have to collect your phone number so I can send you confirmation. Are you calling from a cell phone?
No.
Could you type a cell phone number that we can send an SMS to into the keypad, then press pound? Alrighty, let me just put your reservation under that number. Perfect. Before I book you in, we're gonna have to take your credit card details through a secure line to hold the reservation. The name on the credit card has to match the name on your 24K account. Well, let me transfer you over now. If you could please stay on the line. Otherwise, your booking won't be confirmed. It'll just be a moment. Okay, bear with me 1 sec and I'll check that's gone through. Okay, that's confirmed. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
Nope. Do I get a confirmation number?
You'll receive an email shortly to confirm that your booking has gone through. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
Nope, that's it.
Have a
That's
great
all.
rest of your day. Thanks for
Thank
calling.
you.
Goodbye.
Yeah, so a fairly long call there, but a very sophisticated interaction. I think it highlights, Brian, what you mentioned about the really natural way that the voice and the conversation is conducted. I think for me, 2 points to call out on that call. I don't know about you guys, but whether the caller said 2 or 3 rooms in the first interaction is sort of, I had a lot of trouble trying to understand that. So, you know, the voice assistant solution there was able to prompt and confirm and then automatically update the information that it had misheard. And then right at the end of the conversation, right, the change of mind, right? So, you know, would you, any other questions that you have? No, I don't. Oh, actually, no. Am I going to get a confirmation number of that booking? Fairly typical sort of behavior that we see on phone lines. You know, just a matter of the way that people sort of express themselves over the phone, but we're able to correctly understand the intention there right at the end. But yeah, Michael or Brian, any comments you wanted to share about that?
Yeah, on that reservation also. So she did give her cell phone number. So by the time that call was over, she received a text with her confirmation number and a link that she can click on that link that would open up her reservation and see her reservation. And if she wants to manage it and maintain and change it or whatever, she can do it through that link, which is back on through the Sendyne's reservation system. So, she would have got all that information plus an email with that information too.
Yeah, well, maybe as next example, let me play a partial reservations call, which is, yeah, let everyone hear that for themselves.
Hi, thanks for calling Golden Nugget Lake Charles Reservations. Would you like to make a new reservation or do you already have one?
I would like to make a new one.
Let me take a few details to see what deals we have. What date will you be arriving?
The 10th, the 9th.
And how many nights would you like to stay?
2 complimentary.
We usually have lots of special offers, especially for our 24 Karat Club members. I'll take all your details and then I can see what deals we have. And how many nights would you like to stay?
2, the 9th and the 10th. December 9th and 10th.
How many adults and children?
No children.
How many adults in total?
Oh, three adults.
Great. Finally, do you have a player's card or are you a member of the 24 Karat Club?
I have a player's card and I also received something in the mail. And they gave me a code number to mention, which is DMP.
Okay, please say or type your 14-digit account or card number.
Okay, it's 313.
Great. I'll send your info over to the reservations team and transfer you now. Thanks for calling, and please hold the line.
So yeah, what we sort of typically like to highlight that call is that question of how many adults and children, right? No children, but being able to re-prompt the caller there, but how many adults, right? So again, a very, very natural interaction, just like you would be speaking with a friend or a family member over the phone. Brian or Michael, any comments there? What would that experience have looked like when that call was transferred over to the call center agent?
So when that's transferred to the agent, it pops up that information, the player's card number, the arrival date, the number of nights, and the number of adults will pop on the agent's screen on their phone, and then they open up the player's information so they know exactly who the player is, and they've got the reservation there too to be able to type in the dates and check availability. So it saves them a lot of time. Basically, all that time that it just took, the voice assistant took that time away from the agent to have to find that information, and shortens up that call.
Yeah, perfect. And so maybe at this point, I'll pause here and ask Brian, in terms of the call center agents themselves, like what's been the impact there? You mentioned nutrition, yeah.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been helpful for them to be able to get that information, the partial reservation, and actually the full reservations. And we've had several people, even comment when they're talking to an agent saying, I was talking to somebody and I thought it was a real person, right? So, it's been very, it's been received very well with my agents. They work well together.
Great. Maybe then the final example on this slide really is the PBX calls, right? The FAQs and the routing, which is sort of where the solution started. So let me play an example of that call.
Hi, thanks for calling Golden Nugget Las Vegas. This call may be recorded. What can I do for you today?
General questions?
I'm here to transfer you to the right department or answer some of your questions. How can I help?
Do you have group discounts for rooms?
Are you an active or retired member of the military, a first responder, or a member of AARP or AAA?
First responder and AARP.
Awesome. We're proud to give you 30% off all our rooms if you show an ID with proof of service. You can find other deals on our website or join our 24 Karat Club for more.
Gold Star status cards?
Sure. Let me transfer you to the 24 Karat Club team. Please hold the line for one moment.
Great. So a good example up front there on that call of the ability to disambiguate, right? So lots of callers there, they might sort of be used to talking in short phrases to automate solutions. So they're general questions, general inquiries, but the agent there was able, or the solution I should say, was able to rephrase, prompt the caller to provide a bit more context, a bit more information about what they need help with in order to, one, provide a more relevant response to their question, but also towards the end of that call there, provide a more specific routing of that caller to get them to speaking with the right team members that could help them straight away. Any comments there on the call, Brian or Michael, if I move on?
Yeah, the only thing I would say is, I think people have been trained in the past, like you said, they just gave one comment, one word, and thinking that it won't listen. And what they're finding now is this is very conversational. It understands you. You can talk to it normally. It's going to understand what your intents are. And I think what I've seen is people started out, the adoption rate of utilizing the voice assistant continues to increase and increase over time because people become more confident and comfortable that it can actually talk to it and it's not just a robot.
Yeah, I guess it's, we just got to keep building up their bank of positive experiences with this technology. Right. Cool. So to talk a bit about what we're doing together with Sendyne in the call center more broadly, right? So I think we view it in three, call it distinct modules, right? So what you've heard already is the partial reservations module, right? So they're around helping the agent, sort of providing them all of that information up front to help them reduce the amount of time they need to spend collecting that sort of information. We have reservation modification and cancellations as well as a very distinct use case. And then finally, the full reservations module, which includes all the complexities around managing offers, giving room availabilities, and then also taking payment over the phone in a PCI compliant way. So the one example we haven't heard just yet is a reservation modification or cancellation. So I'll quickly play that for everyone now.
How may I help you?
I'm calling to cancel our reservation for this week, please. We're not going to be able to make it to Vegas.
Okay,
Hello?
I just need to collect a confirmation number for your booking. If you have it on you, could you read it to me?
Yeah, I have it. It's Oscar Romeo 1002.
Okay, give me 1 second while I look that up. Okay, just to make sure I've got the right booking here, could you give me your full name? Great, I see your reservation here. You're arriving on Wednesday, March 29th, and departing on Monday, April 3rd, for a 5-night stay. Would you like me to cancel that booking?
Yes.
Sure, canceling your reservation now. Give me 1 sec, done. That booking is canceled. Is there anything else I can do for you today?
No, so yeah, there it's an example of modification call. I probably should have said up front early in the presentation that all of these examples are real calls with our system, right? So they're not demo calls or proof of concept type calls. These are all live solutions and real calls. For this particular example, we've removed the branding sort of the solution and location, which is why you would have heard that it started quite abruptly. In actual fact, there's some previous sort of audio that's been cut out there for anonymity reasons. But yeah, Brian, maybe on reservation modification cancellation, what's been the value there for you in that use case?
Yeah, as you mentioned here, it looks like we're handling about 50% of the calls for cancellations, and the reason why it's not higher is because a lot of people don't know their confirmation number, and we currently aren't searching by name at this point. We're working on that process right now with Sendyne and getting the ability to be able to find all the reservations, but so that's why the success is right now at only 50%. It'll get better. It's just easier for people just wanting to cancel a call. They don't want to wait online to have somebody answer it. We can quickly take it and resolve it and then send them a confirmation.
Yeah, fantastic. And yeah, Michael Linton, on these reservations modules there, what's the experience been on the Sendyne side, right, with this capability? How are the conversations for you and your team around this offering?
It's been fairly seamless on our side, which is sort of what's amazing about this, right? I mean, you're leveraging the platform that had already existed. It's just in the past there wasn't great solutions like Poly AI to connect them to. So I think it's been quite seamless. I mean, since we've activated with Golden Nugget, we haven't had any issues reported with the voice AI being able to access the APIs. I mean, these things are built, like Brian alluded to. I mean, they're different modules, but it's the same CRS platform is powering this. But it's like you got to think of a web booking engine. If you're timing out, you're losing customers, right? So the speed in which that we're able to serve up this information to the call center module and ultimately up to Poly AI, it's based off of that expectation, which I think is partially why it's been so successful with the reservation side, right? Not only can the voice AI technology respond in a very natural fashion, but it's getting the information it needs to where the person on the phone doesn't get frustrated. Because I'll admit, when I first heard about this and Brian first came to us and introduced us to Poly AI, I was thinking of, like you call your bank and you're on the phone with them, and it's like representative, and it's just, I've heard countless calls with you all, and it's been quite amazing to see how seamless the thing has gone.
Yeah, I think that's an important point there, right? Like the integration between our systems. There's two things that really stick out in my mind, right? One is when we talk about voice conversations, latency becomes really, really important, right? And I know both of our teams have worked a lot, to bring that latency down so that it doesn't inhibit the naturalness of that conversation. And then secondly is just the expertise that is within the Sendyne system around, layering in like the offers that players could be eligible for, the multiple different types of room configurations that's available, and then the different types of rates that should be surfaced depending on who the player is. All of that logic, right, is essentially now been built and solved. Right? So the Poly AI piece and this very, very high level architecture I have on the screen here, what we really focus on is making sure that we can very easily integrate with different call center environments to get the phone call. So on the left-hand side, you can see there's PSTN methods for us to get the call in, and as well as SIP, so Session Initiation Protocol, which is a very industry standard way of transferring calls back and forth. We can also then share data back and forth and call analytics with a contact center solution or platform via our internet gateway. But the key for us is the integration with the Sendyne API layer. Right? And so Michael, if you could talk a bit more about I know that API layer has inside of it a lot more turnkey capabilities than what I've been able to represent on the slide here.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the Pegasus CRS itself, I mean, it's facilitating all availability rates and inventory for the property. And I mean, if you think about that in a traditional hotel environment, that could be complex in and of itself, depending on number of rooms, rates, offers, seasonality, strategic objectives. But you go into a casino environment, and that just multiplies substantially. And we've taken a significant amount of pride and resources and directed them in really building a robust platform that works for casinos, that it enables them to connect it with not only our own revenue management platform, but other revenue management platforms to ultimately segment out and yield out their different comp and player segments, which is incredibly complex, but also very important. And all this is happening in milliseconds behind the scenes to serve up the relevant, proper information, whether it be through our call center application and it's a live agent looking at it, or it's technology. And arguably, even for technology, like when it's touching base using our APIs and going up to the Poly AI solution, it's got to be quick, it's got to be accurate, and it's just got to be something that, again, there isn't a cause for delay. Because if you get people like me who are just impatient, if there's any kind of delay, I'm representative, and it's like, it blows the full thing up, which is, I think it's a great testament to, the robust capabilities of the underlying systems is powering all this here on both sides. And then of course, Brian's foresight to bring us together to make this happen. Creative solution during a challenging time for sure. But I think it's something that everybody's going to continue adopting. It's funny, before COVID, everybody was just more so about just centralizing their call centers, because in gaming, they're not as centralized, and it was more so just about getting together a central call center and handling it that way. And I think this has basically accelerated that because of all the efficiencies, you know, and savings, and as well as improvement in service that it's providing.
You know, and Michael, I'd like to piggyback off that in the fact of utilizing your call center application, because, you know, I have all of my casinos, I have separate applications for every property. So my agents have to open up a separate session for every single property. And utilizing your application now, I'm able to consolidate that into one screen. We've recently acquired a couple properties, and they're on completely different systems, right? But I'm able to now take their reservation system and tie it into, so my agents still only have one call center application where they can pick the property, look at the offers, look at the rate plans, and book the reservations, and to be able to pull in the player information and have everything for them to see all in one screen is just is really valuable.
And the beauty of that for even the Poly AI side is nothing even changes with our connection with them, right? Like we integrate with all these different PMSs because that's what we do as a CRS, right? But then it makes it that much more turnkey. And I'm glad you brought that up, Ryan, because I wasn't sure, you know, that's for you to mention about your guys' acquisitions, but that's where I find this most valuable, right? Where it's like, maybe, you know, because there's a lot of, in the gaming vertical especially, there's been so much shift in ownership. Let's say you want to go buy a group and they're on a totally different PMS platform, but it's a common one. That could be a big challenge if you're trying to now train centralized agents to now use this completely, you know, foreign system maybe to them. Now you don't have to worry about it because you have one system and you can connect your voice AI, you know, into those platforms seamlessly, you know, while you decide whether or not you want to transition maybe those properties over to a common PMS.
Yeah, I think there's a nice thread in there, right, around making life a bit easier, right, for the call center agents there through these combined solutions. Whether that's removing some of the low value sort of calls and making sure they focus on maximizing their time and you know, giving the sort of most attention to the calls they needed, or just making the workflow and the workload a lot easier with all these different systems they have to be managing all the time. So there's a lot of complexity. There's a lot of sort of technical expertise that sits behind what I was able to represent on this sort of high-level diagram here. But certainly feel free to reach out with questions about the solution if you have sort of specific questions about the architecture. So yeah, let's start sort of getting into the wrap up of the session. Then let's talk about sort of what's next, right? So Brian, maybe to throw to you, like where would you like to see more sort of capabilities, investment, experimentation with AI in your call centers?
Well, some of the things that we're continuing to expand and grow. Now we have a voice that is it's text. It's in a voice, and so we've discussed how do we take that text and put it in a web chat so people can book the reservations online. If they get stuck or need to talk to somebody, then they've got to call us, right? So why don't we pop up that web chat, which is basically our same voice bot, put up a chat bot that says the exact same thing and walks people through the same process. So that's our next challenge, or our next step to be able to do that. Put that on the web chat and make it easier for people. Really, it's this whole process is how do I make it easier for my customers to do business with me, right? And make it simple, make it effortless, where they can get what they need done. Nobody wants to sit on the phone and wait for somebody. They don't want the reservation. You know, they just want to. You know, I think eventually where it could go to, you know, using your smartphone application, just saying, hey, can I get a reservation at the Golden Nugget tomorrow night in Lake Charles? And it opens up my app, looks at my offers, looks at the availability, comes back and books and uses my credit card I have on my phone and books my reservation, and it's that quickly, right? So I think there's a whole lot of things how we get there. Just again, making it easier for people to do business with us. And you know, you mentioned earlier, Michael, Chen, about staffing and agent staffing, and you know, one of the great benefits, the first benefit of this whole thing was make it easy and make it a better customer experience. But with this, with the AI handling 30+% of my call volume, that means that's 30% fewer staff I need to have, right? And so as that reduces, and in the call center business, and I've been doing this for over 30 years, you know, call center attrition is extremely high. And where you see that somebody may have 100% attrition a year, but it's not you're not turning 100% of your staff over, you're turning 25% of your staff over 4 times. And it's that lower staff that you're usually in that bottom, you're turning over and over and over again. So if I take out 30% of that volume, where I don't have to bring that continued staff in, that's reduced my attrition and cut my attrition in half, actually, and it allows more tenured, more knowledgeable agents to be able to give a better experience to my customers too. So overall, it's just, I mean, there's all kinds of benefits from this process.
Fantastic. And Michael, then on the call center application, what's next for Sendyne, and do you see sort of some influence from the AI boom, right, on that product?
Yeah, I mean, I think somebody mentioned it earlier. I think it was you, Michael, with ChatGPT. I mean, AI it's such just on the forefront of everything now. It's changing. I think it's going to change, obviously, the way that we live and do business in general. I mean, I think really from our perspective is obviously making sure that our customers that are deploying the call center application with the integration with Poly AI, that everything is moving along successfully and smoothly. But I think really where we naturally would like to go is seeing how we can enhance some of the features from the call center, you know, including like upsells and things along those lines. I mean, we've only scratched the surface here on just making a basic reservation. There are other functionalities that we support in the booking engine that aren't currently yet supported in Voice AI. And it may be, you know, at first it was just amazing. I think we were all just tickled to death to have, you know, successful, the metrics we've seen, which is booking room reservations, and not just a basic room reservation, but casino comps. But I think now it's maybe looking back and leveraging the inherent functionality that we already have in our robust platform and making that available, you know, for use in Voice AI. And I like where Brian's, you know, head's going as well in terms of experimentation with chatbots, right? Like our booking engine supports chatbots, but nothing as intelligent as what we've been doing with Poly AI. So I think there's plenty of things to consider and look at doing, and I'm certain that it'll always be a major consideration with every evolution of all of our products going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine your product team is probably just as excited as ours, right, in exploring all the next sort of capabilities and potential of this technology. In terms of, yeah, to quickly cover the last question, I think for Poly, we're really excited about applying more of the recent boom in generative AI in how we think about designing the voice assistant experience to be more conversational faster, right? So Brian, you know, you mentioned, you know, the deployment time for that first solution together was only about 4 weeks. We want to be able to cut that down even further, right? So to get things into production quicker. And finally, we're seeing some really, really cool use cases in using these large language models in sort of customer satisfaction, CSAT ways, right? What we found that this technology is very, very good at summarization, and summarization is very, very useful when it comes to you know, measuring sort of customer satisfaction and quickly being able to identify opportunities to improve. And so, yeah, that's definitely a watch this space yeah, on that capability. Okay, well, yeah, thank you so much, Brian and Michael, for your time in joining us here. That's the end of our sort of main presentation. So I might hand it over now back to you, Sarah. I think we have a couple of questions to run through.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you everyone for your questions. We have time to answer a couple now. By the way, please keep sending them. If we don't have time to answer all the questions submitted, we will respond to you after the webinar. Okay, let's get started. I'll pick a couple from the top of the chat. I noticed the call starts with, "How can I help you?" Should you tell the caller they are speaking with an automated solution?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. We get this one quite a lot in all of our deployments there. So the reason why we start with a very simple, "Hi, how can I help you?" Is that we want to remove as many obstacles between the call being answered and a caller or a guest being able to tell us what they need help with, right? To the point of also what Brian mentioned earlier, people have past experiences with automated solutions, and we find that introducing things like, hi, I'm a digital assistant, hi, I'm a virtual agent, can sort of confuse people a little bit. They don't really know how best to engage with those solutions, and it's just for us a barrier, an unnecessary barrier in driving caller engagement. We just want people to be able to tell us what they need help with. Now, having said that, we would never lie or recommend lying about the automated status of the solution. So some callers might sort of ask, hey, are you automated? Who are you? What am I speaking with? At that point, we would say, hey, this is what I can help you with. Let us know what you need help with.
Yeah, I agree. I think when if we told people up front that it was a virtual assistant because of their past experience, I think more people would opt out initially. And I think once they start interacting with the voice assistant and realize how conversational it is, they feel comfortable. And so that's why we've chosen not to say it. However, if you ask it, it will tell you, right? It's not lying, but we don't need to announce that and we found we've captured more people and it works better.
Okay, let's take one more. Will AI completely replace live agents? Who wants that one?
I would say from my side, I think everybody will want to thinks that they need to speak to an agent. Right now, a higher percentage of people would rather speak to a live person versus a voice assistant, but really people just want to get their issue resolved and get it taken care of quickly, right? So whatever the best way to do that. I think again, kind of on that last topic, people will once they start getting comfortable with the process, they'll be more apt to use it. I don't see it replacing agents. I see it enhancing what agents will be able to do, and how we utilize AI to make the agent's job even easier and better and more knowledgeable is the direction that it will go versus replacing them.
Fantastic. Cool.
Okay, well, I think we're now at a close. So, but if you're still typing your question, please submit it and we'll respond after the webinar. So thank you. It just leaves me to thank our speakers for presenting today. And on behalf of Poly AI, Michael and Brian, it's been an absolute pleasure. And an extended thanks to you, our audience, for joining us. Just a heads up before we close, if you'd like to register to any of our webinars, past and present, please visit polyai.com/resources/webinars. Until